Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. So today, Duck Talks number 75. Yes, it has been a long time since the last Duck Talks, and I want to begin with some personal stuff, and then later on we'll also obviously cover some War Thunder related stuff. Again, as usual, one of you guys can earn him or herself a pinned post by just adding the timestamps in the comment section down below. So we have, as I said, the Corona edition, and yeah, the personal stuff that I usually don't really talk about is a little bit explaining my situation that I'm in. And I have to say that all the consequences that I suffer, I know that actually I am one of the rather more lucky ones, since, you know, I don't face any sort of existential problems so far. And I mean, the consequences are there, but yeah, let's go through this. So there is first my master thesis. I was doing my master thesis in applied chemistry, and effectively when I just was about to really go into the laboratory work, I was sent home office by my supervisor. And while that is actually understandable, I cannot do laboratory work from home, so I cannot generate data in any shape or form. And the little bit of laboratory work that I could do before, well, it's not much really. So the problem is that my contract runs out in, you know, several weeks, like 1.5 months from now, and that is within the firm, right? But my advisor is not responding. So I've written countless emails and there is nothing that I can do, and he just won't respond, which is pretty fucked up, okay? So I'm standing here kind of in the shattered ruins of what was actually my, my master thesis. That really sucks. But it is the right consequence to do, because he obviously has to run the company. He's not just my supervisor, he's actually the boss. And it's not just a few thousand euros that he is responsible for, it's multiple millions. In fact, the overall worth is probably 1 billion, something like this, of that firm, just at this place. And so I wanted to get hired by another company, but since he's not responding and he's not giving me the necessary paperwork, I can hardly, trying to get hired by another company. So that is, so to speak, my job, if you will. However, we have at home also a beverage store. That's the family business we are running at home. And it is system relevant, so it is still open, as you can imagine. And we also lost a lot of sales because of restaurants, businesses, and also all the parties out there, that are cancelled, which is totally understandable, but it really hurts us. But again, we're the lucky ones because we still have open. And then there are also the people that come to us, to get their beverage stuff. And I think the overwhelming majority of people is acting responsible. They know what's at stake, and they are also pretty disciplined. And you see more and more people running around with those masks. It's looking so weird, and also usually there is a lot of business going on, especially at this time of the year, and now it's so spookily quiet. On the other hand, you really feel that nature is kind of catching up, if you know what I mean. The air feels cleaner. But we'll come to this in a moment, because nature doesn't like me. So the thing here is, there are also some special snowflakes that just won't get it, that just don't want to understand it, and they think we're all overacting and it's just some sort of flu and we're all stupid, and they're sometimes on purpose overstepping the line, quite literally, because on the floor we have those lines for the distance rules, etc. And I know how to help myself in this situation. I can get really nasty, and it helps that I'm a man, and that I know how to handle people that don't know how to behave themselves. So far, words were enough. Although the words, there is German language, and then there is Bavarian, and well, I won't say any further. So yeah, but those special snowflakes, it's really strange because it feel when you always then ask, when there is just one person in the store, and there are also like it's all fake news, etc. And you talk to them, yeah, they have their information from Facebook and the internet, essentially they have fallen to fake news. And I think especially at this stage, in this situation, this is extremely dangerous. So when a few years back, our Chancellor Angela Merkel was laughed at when she said that the internet is still something new for us, she wasn't saying it in the meaning of, we don't know how to use it, but we don't know how to handle it. To really, we never get taught actually what fake news are looking like. We don't know how to distinguish the two, real news and fake news. And a lot of people on the internet are acting like the biggest assholes that you can imagine. And sometimes suddenly this shines through in real life acting. And again, I'm the lucky one that I know how to help myself in this situation. But others just get brushed aside by this stupid aggression and this hate, which is completely unneeded. And this is coming from people that have everything, that they are rich and having 20 fucking thousand cars at home. It's absurd, and that's just as a side note. So as rich as the area here in Bavaria is, money doesn't save you from being stupid. Sometimes it actually amplifies that. It is really out of control. But it's just a few snowflakes and special snowflakes, and just those few people can be enough, right? And this is what's so scary about this coronavirus. It's not the virus itself. I mean, it is worse enough. It is bad enough. But such special snowflakes, they actually. They are torpedoing all the effort from all the other people, and they are also thinking that they're in the right. They are a little bit of anarchists, to be honest. So anyways, you might think that this is gaming heaven, right? Just being more or less ordered to sit at home and do nothing, and online gaming, etc. We'll come to this in just a moment and more. But I just now see how often I actually went out, for a doner kebab, for going with my girlfriend into a restaurant, and cinema here and there. No, it's all gone, and suddenly you feel like being forced to do what you usually were looking for, and suddenly it feels wrong and weird. This is how I have to put it, because I'm sitting here like for several weeks and I've got to do nothing. It's so strange, right? And that the world is to a certain degree collapsing. It is really, really strange. But it's not like bombs are falling or there is a war of any sort. No, it's just a silent disaster. That is really screwing up my. I don't know how to say it. Usually I was practicing social distancing before it was a thing as a gamer, but now it's like, I kind of miss that, right? It's really so difficult to put into words. Like usually you wanna, or I want to get away from all the trouble and all that noise that are people essentially. And now, since that is essentially gone from the streets, it's a bad thing to go out. And that is just so goddamn weird. So that comes to the next thing, fishing. So it's not like that you're ordered to stay at home. It's just ordered to keep distance, which is a sensible thing to do. And here in Bavaria, we were affected a bit more than the rest of Germany, and it's been a few weeks since, but it's a completely different past. It's so unnatural to say this. It was a different reality. It really was. And here I have to say that I still can go out fishing, right? But I cannot go to the shop where I get all my fishing equipment. And no, I don't order online. So, I really fear for this guy, although the German government and the Bavarian one, they are just pushing the money out there to keep all the small businesses alive and also trying to help the big ones. So I think because we also reacted better, we are significantly better off than Spain, Italy, and America. So this is getting bad. But another thing is that I couldn't visit my girlfriend on the Easter weekend, or where she also had her birthday. So that was really rough, right? So I see that there are consequences for everybody, but even I, that kind of excels at social distancing, even I feel some really, really hard consequences. So I'm also wondering how the semester at the university is gonna work out. I mean, there is the content available online, but to be honest, I also love to sit in lectures. I'm really always enjoying listening to professor rambling on about his topic. It's so fascinating, and you learn a stuff. And there is just the difference when there are those when they get sidetracked a little bit and they get off route with their storytelling, and then you hear the really interesting stuff that you find in no book, or you never knew were an actual thing. And there are so many stories that I could tell you. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm really into science quite a lot. So there is the thing that I miss that as well. And it's just not the same to have an online video, and upcoming live streams also will not be the same. So I could also talk here about the difference between an actual lecture and just watching a video, even if it is only the PDF files or the PowerPoint presentation. But what those people say and how they say it gives you also a good indication what might be coming up in the test. So again, it's just not the same. And also I get significantly more rapidly tired than in an actual lecture. I mean, yeah, there I also have my coffee, and I know it has advantages sitting at home and watching a video or listening to this lecture online when you see yourself being fit the most. So difference between somebody standing up early normally and also being a night owl. I'm definitely a night owl. So now when everybody's sleeping, I'm just awake and just working. I love that. I love the sound of silence. Heads playing War Thunder, lol. So much for the personal stuff and the consequences. One more thing that you might have noticed over the last couple of weeks is that I was talking here and there about my allergies, and I think that the way that this spring happened, from 0 to 100, was really rapid, and so all the polls are out there at once, and it's really over aggressive. I have experiences from people that never had any sort of allergies, and now even their eyes are watering quite a lot, or how you say it, and they have the symptoms, and I also had it as well. So I had to take so much of the medicine, to the max of which is possible, that I had more side reactions, like getting really tired. So I tried to go to the doctor, right? And he is in like literally 100 meters away since a few days. So he's just 100 meters away from my doorstep. And yeah, I had to call him and describe him the symptoms because of, guess what, the corona crisis. I cannot just simply go into to the doctor's place like I used to. And so this is really screwed up. So he actually gave me a subscription, I guess you call it, to get some different medicine. And yes, it helps. Finally I found the holy grail of medicine that helps me. But now my nose and also my lung feel really weird. Like they're open, they're functioning, which is amazing, but they're also, they hurt a lot. Like it's really this fight between the medicine and the body just wanna have an area lockdown. it's Oof, it's bad, and I'm still a little bit tired, but significantly less tired than with the other medicine. So it's definitely an improvement, and I'm still really screwed up health-wise. And I'm not quite sure how this would affect the sickness if I would get corona. And since there is still a lot of traffic, and I told you earlier that there are still some special snowflakes, I am in a high risk group, not from the consequences of the disease, but actually getting it, right? So this is really weird. But again, at the end of the day, to sum it up, I'm still one of the more lucky ones, right? Because we still have the beverage shop open, the beverage store. Others have to completely lock down and are at the brink of an existential crisis. We're not. We have significantly less sales, and especially the stuff that brings in the money, right? The big money. Like for us, it's plus minus zero. And again, at the moment, that is as good as it can get, right? So, oof. Yeah. So, however this will go on, stay at home, so we can go through this faster and safer. But I really see a big second infection wave coming when rules get eased, because people just are like this, right? They want to catch up, so to speak, on all the stuff that they have might missed out, right? And now then, you know, when restrictions get eased or lessened, then people just want to go to the cinema, and they want to go to the restaurants, and everything gets overrun. And then there is one person that might even not know that he has that he is infected with corona, and he infects several other people, and then boom, off it goes, right? So this is really dangerous, and the danger that I see, because even though now we have flattened the curve in Germany and especially in Bavaria at very high costs financially wise, I think, you know, there is still the fact that it's not over. That's the really stupid thing about this, because there needs to be a complete everybody needs to be either cured or have died from it, right? So that is also a really rough situation. And again, this is why it's not like a flu, because yes, a flu kills a lot of people over the course of a year, but there are more or like I don't know how to say it, like normal deaths. And you know, a lot of people also vaccinate themselves every year versus the real flu. You know, not just having to cough a little bit here and there. That's not the real flu. And you know, then people, those special snowflakes, like today there was this one person, and I just can't get over his stupidity. Really sorry that I have to say about this, that I have to talk you through this again. He was saying, it's all fake news, and the people are all over panicking, etc. And you know, he just didn't keep the distance up until that I got really direct to him, right? And then he stepped back a few meters to allow me to, you know, do the money stuff. So then he went out, and another guy came in, you know, with the mask on. and I knew that, so I knew him, so I told him that story, and he's just like, yeah, idiots will never die out, even though, you know, you can extend to this and say, even though you have those numbers, you have it all over the media. We even have we have the first death in our village, and we also have some cases of infection in our village. Still, people here, some just don't get it. Some just don't want to believe it. That's the thing, right? And they're actively acting like it's like nothing's going on. So, as scary as the virus is, the stupidity of people, I don't know what's worse. And I think I never really talked about this. You know, I'm a person, I grew up and I got a lot of education. I was always very interested in science myself, you know, from astronomy to across the scientific stuff, all that it exists, right? Including viruses, bacteria, how antibiotics, and also how different medicine works. It's an astonishingly interesting story of itself, and this is actually one of my lessons right now. So I'm really interested in this stuff, but I also have to see it from the point of view from people that don't know all this stuff, for which they just grew up with, and they all take it for granted, right? So they never have seen the consequences of a real pandemic like the so-called Spanish flu from roughly 100 years ago. And I also know about this story because I'm not just interested in history of wars, but in general in any sort of history. For example, also discoveries of scientific stuff. But this is going too far, right? It's already 22 minutes in. I really have to get to the War Thunder topics right now. So this is standing here. Yes, I made myself some notes. War Thunder topics. Yeah, the situation in War Thunder is as dire as with the coronavirus. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about. I love to rant about War Thunder. It's a little bit of a therapy for me as well. So the first topic is the map rotation, and it is completely broken, and also it forces me to a certain playstyle which I actually don't like. So first of all, the maps that I actually disliked I get more and more frequent, whereas the ones that I actually liked in the map rotation filter I get less often, and except for the map that I banned, you know, it doesn't seem to work for me anymore. And it doesn't seem to affect your personal matchmaker, but the global War Thunder matchmaker is affected by the overall vote from the player base. And, you know, this is a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because a lot of people don't like certain maps for very specific reasons. To be honest, if I go into War Thunder and I just look through the map rotation filter myself, you know, the big maps, Kursk, Mostock, Maginot Line, Fields of Normandy, those are the big, large maps, and I personally love them because, you know, you can use the terrain, the ridge lines to scout enemies and then to attack them from unexpected angles. But then there are also maps like Fulda and to a certain degree Kursk, where it's just driving to then just end up in a close quarter scenario anyway. And I think that this is, sorry for this, piss poor map design, because we really have no alternatives. And so a lot of people are apparently upvoting the close quarter city fights, because if you then get one shot, it's not so bad because you didn't drive to the place where you get killed like for 5 minutes like on the said maps. But for an experienced player that is looking for a challenge, that is looking for you know, the situations and the positions to help out his team and to have a good position to snipe, that is just no longer the case. And you know, there are more and more maps that I would love to really ban, but I only have one ban. I would love to ban Cargo Port. I would love to ban 38th Parallel. I would love to ban what's the map, Battle of Hürten Forest. American Desert is actually banned. I get Japan way too often. You know, it's not a terrible map, but I really don't like it. Vietnam, I would love to ban this. You know, Karelia for top tier tanks, it's not a bad map, but it's just not this map at top tier. Then also Sweden, yeah, it got a dislike. I would love to ban it. So you can see I would love to ban, especially the more and more, or Italy. I've gotten Italy never since, or in the last few weeks, probably 3 or 4 times. So, but I don't have spent a dislike or a like on it. However, I think that if this works as I think, then the majority of people have disliked Italy or banned Italy, so the matchmaker then works at least in that aspect. Yeah, so this is just a map rotation, right? What is actually there when you get a map, very often, especially with night battles, I even if I have night vision device or thermal imaging, I don't like to play a night battle, because it's just looking like a dog's dinner. It's looking awful, and also don't have fun. So I suicide on the enemy just to have a go then with another map. But then I get the same map again and again and again. My record so far was getting the same map 5 times in a row. A map that I actually disliked. I got it anyway 5 times. 5 times of suiciding. At the end, at the 5th time, I just Alt F4'd. That was the first time in years that I Alt F4'd, that I really rage quitted. It was not because of the enemy, but of simply a broken system at Gaijin headquarters. And especially with night battles, there is no option. I cannot download night battles. I would love to give them a ban, right? I would love to ban night battles, because it's not aesthetically pleasing. I don't really like to fight under those conditions, and it is inherently unfair, because there is just a handful of vehicles that have thermal imaging for the commander's binoculars. There is not every tank at top tier, or you know, in the top bracket or the top ranks, equipped with thermal imaging, and it is a huge advantage. Whereas then a night vision device lets you see where you're going. It's so hard to see a tank in the dark, you know, if it is pitch black night in particular, and it's raining, and there is a cloud cover, no moon, no stars, nothing. And then, what is with the people that don't have a night vision device at all? Like, they have no idea where they are going. They could just drive in the wrong direction and just fall off a cliff and die, and then have a you know, that then they have a crew lock. Either because they have to stock grind through all the modules, but how can you grind under conditions where you can't see anything? This is worse than the reason why I left World of Tanks, because with a normal crew, without, you know, shoveling money into Wargaming's pocket, I couldn't see a damn thing in my tank with a stock crew, you know, 75% crew. And in War Thunder, now you can't even see where you're going at all. Well done, Gaijin. Well done. And what about the tanks that don't have night vision device at all? Having to fight premiums that have thermal imaging. The hell? And how do they dare to kind of making themselves their own question? Are new tanks or premium tanks planned with thermal imaging? What the fuck? What the fuck is this Q&A? Holy shit. This is not even a rant. This is just me being not amused. It's totally broken. But let's move on, because it gets better. So I get more and more maps that I don't like, get the maps that I actively like less and less, and I get more and more night battles, and leaving a match early, getting the same map again over and over. Do you have the same experience? For me, this kills quite a lot of enjoyment in War Thunder. This is a tank RB, by the way, so not even having a look at you know, Air Forces, you know, Air RB. and I also have no idea if this is a thing in arcade. And that leaves only the black sheep here, Naval Forces. That is the next topic. Naval Forces. Well, you haven't seen a Naval Forces video in quite a while, have you? The reason for this is because, again, I get bad maps. And also, there is a thing. You have to see it like this. In tanks, you can like or dislike a certain map for all missions. When it comes for Naval Forces, I spent all 3 dislikes and the ban on South Quadrant, and I get the map over and over again. There is a reason why I disliked it, right? There is a reason why I tried to ban it, and then I get it over and over again. That's just bad, and I hate this map. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, the balance is just off scale. The teams are small, and half of the teams are bots. Yes, it has been like this, but now there are only the dedicated SEAL clubbers left. The absolute no-lives, I'd say, and it's only a question of Spee or die. Do you have the Admiral Graf Spee? Well, I guess you die with the first salvo then. Or maybe some other German cruiser. You know, I've actively warned Gaijin of this. Nothing has been done. It has in fact made worse. And here we are. So, the consequence of, and this is just very interesting for you guys, I was really stubborn to keep pushing out those Naval Forces videos because I wanted to give my feedback. I wanted to support Gaijin in this aspect. And all that I've gotten from Gaijin was a bitch slap. You want to know how they bitch slapped me? Oh, here's the thing. Because, understandably, not a lot of people were interested in watching Naval Forces videos, the average view on my channel has suffered from Naval Forces videos. I was aware of this. I was aware that I would not have my channel growing as fast as I, potentially could do it with just showing top-tier tank reviews, etc. But the thing is, it has, dropped the average view on my channel below a certain level, and I've fallen back to the first stage of the content creator partnership level, so to speak. I cannot request as much anymore as I could in the past, when it comes to vehicle test drives even, or requesting premiums. It has actively hurt my channel. So now I can do even less videos on tanks. Then, the thing is, oh, just napalm, just grind them because you have all the money. No. All the golden eagles are there for me to buy the parts and FPE on ships and tanks, and also for planes. Sometimes you need certain modules unlocked. And I have suffered through hundreds of vehicles that I stock grinded myself. And all the new content, and this is the breaking point, all the new content that Gaijin is focusing on is high-tier stuff. The overwhelming majority of new content is high-tier stuff. 390,000 RP for a tank? I cannot research such a tank in one day and stock grind it and then present you a video. It's just not possible for me. It's just not possible. So I cannot make a video about such a vehicle every day. And I also then kind of, in retrospect, wasted, those few requests that I could make, sometimes on ships. Which was a bad move. I agree, it was bad. But I thought it would be different, right? I thought that I would actually hold that level, but no, I have dropped. And it was not, it made no difference by Gaijin. So the feedback that I've gotten was, well, we are not responsible for the quality of your videos. And you know what? They're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. They are not responsible for the level of quality of my videos, because it at the end of the day was my decision to hold on to Naval Forces. That I was actually one of the biggest content creators out there that made content about Naval Forces at all has been disregarded. That was never any sort of an argument for them. So while they are absolutely right, it's still kind of a bitch slap for me, right? So, lesson learned, no Naval Forces anymore. Up until they get significantly improved. And I stopped giving feedback. I'm done at this stage with Naval Forces. And I'm one of the most addictive players, or addicted players, to War Thunder and especially Naval Forces. They have actually made it possible to break me. A very new, fresh, promising game mode, completely wasted. Well, that's Gaijin. Talking about Gaijin, another consequence of the coronavirus is that a lot of people are at home, they have no idea what they're doing, so they're turning on their PC and they're playing War Thunder because, you know, they wanted to grind at some point and maybe the game has gotten better. And in that process, we have peaked over 120,000 players. So, what we got for this was a single 120% booster for everybody. How generous. Now, here is another thing. World of Warships gave 2 weeks of premium time for free to everybody. Just log in and play. That was all that was required. Gaijin, 1 single booster. Now, what really made me shed a few tears of joy was the thought, imagine you see those news, you log into War Thunder, and you know, you invite all your friends and come on guys, let's now grind, you know, let's just kill all the noobs. Yes. And then you get a disliked map in a night map and you have no thermal imaging, no night vision device at all. Yes. And this is your booster gone. You know, it's funny because it's true. Anyway, so decompression. When not now, when then, Gaijin? At which point is Gaijin willing to make a decompression? Because they cannot claim that there are not enough players in the map rotation, or in the queues, right? Because we have so many people like we never had before. But Gaijin runs War Thunder so badly that so many people get repelled that it seems like we don't have even now enough players. And this is the record peak. And we actually have dropped below this peak by now. So we're on the downfall again because people no longer want to waste their time on the broken mess that is War Thunder. And despite all this, we never also saw a shorter queue times or bigger teams in Naval Forces, just as a side thought. Anyways, again, you know, that is not really ranting, by the way. This is just stating things as they are and how I experienced them. So, yeah, what a shame. A wasted chance. And you know what? Now the grande finale, the questions from Duck Talks number 74. The first question comes from Zap the Builder. Question for next Duck Talks. Do you think Germany is unfortunately fundamentally screwed because their World War II tanks and jets were so much more advanced for the time that in-game basically forces them to fight enemies they were never even imagined to go up against and basically get screwed because of this? Love your content and agree on a lot of things you say being watching. So, thank you. I think this is one point to see it. Another one is that Germany is, aside from the Russians, the oldest tank nation in the game. So they have been power creeped and feature creeped a lot. And if you then look at the current German tech tree, you can see that the M41 Walker Bulldog and also then the SPZ BMP-1 made things significantly easier at around this area, right? And then we saw the removal of the mouse and the Target 2 with the 105 and the Panther 2. And what we got is the M48A2. And as shit as this tank is, you know, it then gets a heat shell, which, you know, effectively the Panther never had. And also Hash. So, yeah, it is in certain aspects a better tank when it comes to the firepower. but this is just fundamentally fixing the power creep and just making it worse. And so power creep, feature creep, and then as you say, it's also that the tanks must not be overpowered. Look at an IS-2 versus a Tiger 2. The IS-2, had this one-shot wonder nuke round, but other than this, you need to penetrate the tank from the front. You have less gun depression, you have a significantly longer reload, you have less penetration, and your armor is also significantly more vulnerable to the Tiger 2's long 88. So you kind of see what this is going. And these days, the Tiger 2 is facing Object 120s and ATGMs and some other lolpen machines and its own battle rating. While around it in the tech tree, more of those lolpen stuff is also appearing. And since armor is no longer anything that is really, something that you can rely on in the game, well, guess what? Damn it. Target 2 is gone now. No longer any content that is desirable to go after. Eliasa asks, question, thank you for answering my previous question, Napalm. However, recent developments with STRV and Gaijin's commendation of PGO2 in their post, especially someone's recommendation for Gaijin to listen to your feedback regarding Naval, made me curious. Question is, are there options available for a content creator to kind of attempt to influence Gaijin or be some sort of bridge between community and devs, like content creator directed polls then sent to Gaijin, etc., since obviously forum alone is not enough? Well, oh boy, where to begin? The only direct access that I have into the vicinity of Gaijin is the content creator Discord, and there, if I request something, it still has to go through the official channels via email. But I can obviously give feedback, and we very often give feedback. We give clips, we give suggestions, we rant about stuff, and trust me, I'm here at the forefront of, pointing out issues, especially with Naval Forces, and nothing has really happened. All that you see is the result of all the content creators trying. Now, there are content creators that are active, and lots of them I have also shown one way or the other, or some of them I have shown with my featuring series, because I support them, giving feedback, the way that they get more weight in terms of view numbers. That is one of many reasons why I do this. But anyways, nothing comes from this. Gaijin is implementing, because of having a non-functional quality control system, more broken stuff that they can fix. That's how it is. So no, that is as good as it gets. And all the videos, nothing has come of them so far where I really could point out that has improved because of feedback from the CCs. As sad as it sounds, that's the status. The tea drinking owl #question. Do you think that as a community we should organize together a boycott of the game to try and make Gaijin listen to the community? We love the game and want to help to save it, but it feels like it's being left to rot and Gaijin is just ignoring the problem and pretending painting over it would be help. Also, as you are a voice of the people, would you help organize or spread the word if you think it would encourage Gaijin to stop panicking and actually fix the cause of many problems with people leaving the game or not wanting to spend money on a broken system? Well, first of all, I would dig my own grave. Point number one. Point number two, look at the outrage with the Free Abrams stuff, and Sean. What has come of it? What has come of it? A lot of the things that then changed were kind of reversed, and we are now left with the old system. We still don't have stock parts and FPE, which are essential for tanks and ships. Yeah, you can burn down in a ship in the ocean if you haven't unlocked the fire extinguisher, because on an entire heavy cruiser, nobody has a bucket to, quench the fire. It's a free-to-play title, and Gaijin is a a Russian developer. they are so dense, even osmium is lightweight against it. It's sad but true. So that just didn't work the last time there was a community-wide uproar. So here it is. Jay Wilt has two questions, hashtag question. Now that so many low to mid-rank ships with exceeding 100mm guns can hull break, mind revisiting them in a big compilation video? No. No naval content anymore. Sorry. It's so broken, it's completely obsolete. Second question. Nice to hear you're also going to grade school for chemistry. I'm currently a first year PhD student for organic chemistry. What sort of career do you hope to get with your master in applied chemistry? Well, that is actually a very interesting question, and to be honest, I don't know myself for 100%, but in essence there are two things. The first thing is to get a job at all, and to get a lot of experience, because there is university and then just to be part of a firm, and I've gotten just some recent experiences and it's awful. If everything is written in stone, everything is fixed, then sometimes it's just difficult to find your way there. But in other aspect, it would be very, very tempting to be part of a research team, to throw ideas around and to discuss it. I'm really one of those guys that would love to do some actual teamwork. So I really think that there are endless possibilities. But to actually make reality out of possibility, that's a different question. So I wish you the best for kind of your career as well. For mine, it is very unsure at this very moment. Swiss asks, do you play other games like Tarkov DayZ? I would really like to see you playing Tarkov. No, I have heard the name of the game, but I don't really care, to be honest. I don't really play too many other games. I used to play World of Warships, but I've given up on this because it's a broken mess. The desync at the moment is just too crazy. And also, I think that there is only one free-to-play title that you really can concentrate on. So then I am really playing with the thought of playing Doom Eternal. I have seen some amazing stuff on it. It should be absolutely fun. And that is kind of the level of brutality that I can endure since, I'm playing War Thunder for the better part of 7 years. Yes. So, there you have your answer, I hope. Ross Webster asks, hashtag question, what about the player base having a more active role in the game development? We had the shared revenue program, but with the skills of the community, why not have them help with game mode concept, map design and rebalancing, given that we actually play RB? Love the content, hope all is well with you, keep it up. First of all, thank you. Second of all, it's a nice idea, but essentially Gaijin's devs are somewhere in the deepest depths of Soviet Russia and they are cut off from the rest of the world, it seems like. And again, it's a nice idea, but for Gaijin, relatively unpractical. Sometimes they do surveys, sometimes they're looking for active suggestions just to ignore them anyway in the process. I don't see how Gaijin is ever going to that stage. Again, nice idea. I would support that, but it's just not the case. Christian Winkler asks, which German light cruiser will be the best candidate for a talisman? I got almost spotted my Emden and I don't want to buy a premium ship. Cheers from Argentina. Well, the thing here is, light cruisers don't have it easy these days because they have to deal with heavy cruisers, and with the ongoing compression and the ongoing screw up of the naval mode, I would say hands off from shoveling any sort of money into Naval Forces. At this moment it's looking really dire, and if you would put a talisman on a ship, it would be the Admiral Graf Spee. But do you get the Admiral Graf Spee? Only with a premium ship or with excessive grinding, and nobody is guaranteeing you that that ship will be playable any way, shape or form in the future, because British battle cruisers might arrive just to rebalance that one ship, just to shit on everything else in the game as well. Just a random thought. Ayobus asks, hashtag question, do you think that the game is improving or going badly? Cause I surely liked the game before in the early days when I started playing, when top tier was Leopard 1 versus T-54s. It was so it was so good, so challenging, so fun. Well, to be honest, the game is improving in certain ways here and there, make no mistake. But in the general trend, I think there are fun battle ratings. You have to find them for yourself, whatever you personally really like. The game has endless opportunities, to be honest. On the other hand, I have to say, I think it's going downhill. Naval Forces, completely dead. RRB, it's also insane compression. And tanks, well, map rotation, night battles, and stock grind, it's getting worse and worse, and the grind is getting worse and worse. So overall, I think for a new player's experience, the game is getting worse, despite offering more and more content. So those were all the questions that I could answer, and yeah, if you have a question, feel free to ask it, or to ask your question in the comment section down below, but begin it with #question. It's what now, 51 minutes? I think that's enough. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if it did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.